Friends was high in the ratings as it went into its third season, and the cast had become stars, but they weren't getting the star treatment.
The cast of Friends got paperweights, you know, for thank you gifts, and other stars of shows were getting Porsches, you know.
Friends has always had sort of a squeaky clean image in that they all got along so well. But the one sort of scandalous aspect of the show was that they were always talking about money.
The bottom line is that every single show on their third year renegotiates. That's just what happens.
When they started, they were making about $40,000 an episode.
They all negotiated for their raises at the same time.
The toughest thing about it was it played out in the press.
It was kind of an all-for-one mentality that worked for them for a lot of things, for negotiating their salaries, for, you know, getting what they wanted from the studio. So they really did kind of band together because they realized, you know, the only way we're going to be able to, you know, handle all of this is if we stick together.
From the beginning, we were a group, a solid group, and we all wanted to be paid equally, and that was the thing we were stressing from the beginning.
There were always negotiations going on, and the Friends were really a united front. They were constantly pushing for more money.
Lisa Kudrow, man, all of the cast, the whole cast really owes Lisa Kudrow, because she's the one who got them all together and rallied and thought, hey, we're worth more.
The six of us have a lot more power than one star of the show.
The characters were loved by the fans, and so were the actors who played them. But were they really worth millions?
There's no question that the entire cast of Friends is worth each of their $1 million paychecks because they're bringing in the ratings.
Hey, you know what? We want a cut of this, too.
Here's the deal with that. It became so blown out of proportion, the whole renegotiation thing.
People who are making, you know, a few bucks an hour can't even fathom. I can't fathom. No one can fathom, unless you're in that neighborhood of that kind of a paycheck, can sense what it's like to make $1 million bucks a show. It's like, what do you do with that money?
Whether you're talking about them making $200,000 an episode or $1 million an episode, it's such an absurd amount of money that the average fan sitting at home has no idea what that's like.
I can't even compute, and this is why I think it's fun to talk about and write about. It's like, you know, I mean, what a bad hair day? Is that how as bad as it can get, making $1 million bucks a show? It's like, what kind of life is that? And yet they still seem to have problems, just like you and me. So money is not the answer to happiness. After all, who knew?
It was hurtful. I mean, to be honest, I mean, the six of us were like, wow, why is there such a backlash? Why is there so much negative press about us?
Are you following me?
In terms of the public looking at them, it wasn't like, oh, God, you're getting all this money. It was like, ah, good for you. You're getting a piece of the pie.
It was making a lot of money for NBC. It really defined the network. And so I think a lot of people felt that they deserved the money.
It actually ended up being a positive, I think, for them, because then in the public's mind forever, they'll be known as this cast who does everything together. It's like they've got their own little Friends union.
But every silver lining has a cloud. And for the cast of Friends, it came in the form of media scrutiny. They became moving targets for the paparazzi and fodder for tabloid headlines.
They had a lot of press to handle in the beginning. It became a huge sort of phenomenon, and they were inundated.
And that doesn't happen just because it's a good show. All the gossip, all the intrigue, all the friggin' money. This is what makes it such a so talked about show. Yeah, the product is great, but the stuff off camera is even better.
They really sort of took this group mentality where if they were asked to do a photo shoot, or if they were asked to do, you know, a magazine story, they would only do it if all of them wanted to do it.
You always see them together, and they always go out in interviews. They always talk about being friends in real life. I think they actually really have stayed friends all this time, which is more than how often can you stay friends with anybody for 10 years. So.
Courtney Cox has karaoke parties at her house, and they all come over and hang out, and that's really phenomenal after seeing each other every day for 10 years. They all have made sure that they make the exact same salary. They, you know, put themselves in the same category at these award shows, and they spend equal time on set.
The lives of the stars, their relationships have pretty much been scrutinized as much as the characters' relationships with each other and their various, you know, boyfriends and girlfriends.
They are a gossip columnist nightmare because they legitimately get along.
You've got people who are just waiting for them to fall.
It's my opinion that the press has been a little bit softer on the gals than the guys.
People are looking on the outside and saying, oh my God, Courtney Cox can't keep Michael Keaton.
I guess that once he took the Batman suit off and didn't have those black rubber nipples anymore, the magic was just gone.
I don't like being written up in the tabloids, but I think that it's allowed me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have had.
What's happening with Jennifer Aniston and Tate Donovan?
I didn't see Love Potion #9, but apparently on Jennifer he should have used Love Potion #8.
Poor boo-hoo for Jennifer Aniston. Didn't work out with Tate Donovan. She got Brad Pitt, you know? Who bags Brad Pitt? Gwyneth came close, but I thought, I'm not going to be Jennifer Aniston. Fool that I was.
With the men, they had the issues of weight gain and weight loss, which is kind of ironic because had the women gained the weight, they would have either been told to lose the weight or chances are they might have been let go.
The guys' relationships also fell under the media microscope.
Julia Roberts had a brief relationship with Matthew Perry. And, you know, Matthew was saying that that was just such a difficult relationship because they'd be out in the yard or they'd be in a park and snap, 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 snap. There'd be like all these paparazzi around.
David Schwimmer, yeah, likes the topless models, like Carla Alapont.
I don't think there's any way to describe what happens to you and the way in which people respond to you. There's no way to describe it. Luckily, I think we all, and I guess speaking for myself, I had a really solid family and friends, a really good support group.
Looking back over it, I think that Courtney and Matthew probably suffered from their fame the most.
I had to check myself into rehab and kind of turn my life around, and because during the shooting of this movie, I hit that kind of crossroads in my life where it was, you know, you must prioritize. You have to go take care of this problem, and everything else has to take a back seat to it.
The cast's personal lives and experiences found their way into the show's storylines.
Obviously, with having 3 actresses that were of childbearing age who got married over the course of the show, they got into the issue of what they were going to do if these women were pregnant.
When Lisa Kudrow was pregnant, they kind of wrote that into the show, and Phoebe, the character that she plays, became a surrogate mom to her brother.
There's 3 things that a sitcom can do when an actress becomes pregnant. They can choose to ignore it, they can choose not to ignore it, or they can kill them.
Are you following me?
And with Courtney Cox, because she had had infertility issues, they decided to write that into the show.
Monica and Chandler were looking to have a baby and were unable to conceive by themselves.
Obviously, they would not have done that without her blessing.
I think just the mere fact that the cast reflected the characters, which reflected the audience, was a rarity, and the writers, who are good anyway, it just gave them all the more field to kind of pick from.
The audience related so well to the characters that they began to dress like them, talk like them, and scan the show for the latest Friends trends.
After the break, the Friends must-see television soon becomes a must-have for fashion trends.
If people saw Chandler's bowling shirt looking thing, they wanted to have it the next day.